Hey everyone, it's Short Fiction Friday, so I'm going to review three more short stories and then we'll randomly select some as well. This week I read Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart, Brian Lumley, Fruiting Bodies, and Ramsey Campbell, Going Under. Let's start with Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart. This is a short story from 1843 and it first appeared in The Pioneer. The Telltale Heart is about an unnamed point of view character who is stalking an old man with the intention of killing him. And you get this really tense build up as the killer is in the old man's room, kind of silently watching him sleep. Now, I'm not usually going to do spoilers for these short stories, but this is one of the few exceptions where maybe I'll talk about it a little bit. I feel like this is one of the most famous short stories ever, so I don't think people will mind me kind of spoiling it, talking about the ending. So after he's killed the old man and disposed of the body, some policemen come to the house, and the killer thinks he's getting away with it to start with, but he starts imagining a beating heart coming from where he's buried the old man. So the idea is that the guilt drives him insane and he confesses to the police. Now, I've read this story plenty of times before. It's a classic. I think everyone knows this one. It's great. It deserves its reputation. It's a really good story. The only thing that was a little bit different this time is the inclusion in this body horror book is quite a strange one, because I always took the major theme of this story to be a quite straightforward thing about insanity and guilt, right? He's insane for wanting to kill this man in the first place, and then he's sent even more insane by the guilt, right? So the beating heart is clearly kind of just a manifestation of his insanity, of his guilt over the murder. So its inclusion in body horror is quite strange, because body horror to me, on one level, it's quite literal, right? The body is really actually breaking down. And then typically that's kind of a metaphor for getting old or disease or something like that, something that might actually affect your body. In The Telltale Heart, there's nothing really quite works on that body horror level, because the beating heart is imagined. So yeah, strange inclusion to me. I was enjoying reading through the story and kind of thinking in my head that the heart was actually beating, like it's a body horror story about a heart that beats by itself, which doesn't make any sense. So yeah, thematically, its inclusion in this doesn't really make sense. All right, the next thing I read was also from this. It's Fruiting Bodies by Brian Lumley. This story first appeared in a 1988 summer edition of Weird Tales. The basic story here is our main character, Greg, has previously moved out of his childhood home. And the reason his family had to move out is because the town he's living in, a seaside town, it's becoming undermined and kind of falling. The town is falling from the cliffs into the ocean. And this is a very slow process, but of course the town has to kind of gradually move away. At a certain point, there's only one man left in the town, Garth. And Greg, sort of feeling nostalgia and thinking about the past, decides to revisit his childhood home. And he visits Garth, and Garth kind of tells him what he's been up to. And Garth shows him the decaying town that's being eroded by the sea. But Garth also shows him that the town is being eroded by something else. So I won't go any further. I won't spoil the plot on this one. This was an excellent story. I thought it was really, really good. got that like gothic, gloomy kind of atmosphere. And I'm definitely interested to check out more Brian Lumley. All right, the last short story I read this week was the Ramsey Campbell story in Dark Love. The short story is called Going Under. And in Going Under, our main character, Steve, desperately needs to send a letter to his ex-wife. And he's trying to call his girlfriend, Val, to get her to send this letter. So the idea is that Steve has a mobile phone. He's keeps calling Val. So the letter really, really needs to be sent today. Otherwise, the ex-wife is going to start legal proceedings. This story sort of starts off as just a suspense kind of story. Can this guy send the letter in time? Can he make this phone call and get through to his girlfriend? And the horror content is very, very subtle. It's more that it operates on this kind of bad dream logic where if you've ever had a bad dream where you just can't get something done, right? Like there's an assignment due and the bad dream starts putting all these obstacles in your way, reasons why you cannot, submit the assignment, or you cannot send the letter, you cannot make the phone call. And there's just sort of stranger and stranger reasons why you can't get this thing done. So kind of an abstract, kind of barely horror, nightmare logic kind of short story here. I thought it was okay, pretty good, but not great, not amazing. Okay, and if I were to rank these stories in my big list, I'll put The Telltale Heart number 1. Now, I'm not the kind of guy to give something a great score just because it's historically important, but this Edgar Allan Poe short story, I think, really deserves its reputation. So that'll go number 1. Brian Lumley, Fruiting Bodies. Do I dare rate this above The Telltale Heart? No, I won't dare, but it's very good though. So this will go number 2. And Ramsey Campbell, Going Under. I thought this was a fine story. I enjoyed reading it, but I think I'll put it under that Michael Walker story that we read. All right, let's pick some new stories to read. Okay, so choosing the next short stories to read is very simple. We've got books 1 through to 6 here, and they'll be chosen using the 6-sided die. The 12-sided die will choose the story within the book. All right. 5 and 7. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Essence of the Beast by Roberta Lanes, and that's 18 pages. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling until we get to 50 pages or more. One and 3. So that's 16 pages. We're reading The Caballero's Way by O. Henry. Six and 12. One, 2. We're skipping over Kathy Koja. 3, 4, 5, 6. Skipping over Ramsey Campbell. 7, 8, 9. Skipping over Bob Burden. 10, 11, 12. Catherine Potasek. Driven. and that's 14 pages. Okay, we're up to 48 pages total. So this roll will select the last short story, unless I get a one-page short story, I guess. Got 1 and 11. Okay, it's A Man Called Horse by Dorothy M. Johnson. All right, I'll put all the selected short stories up on the screen here. So go read these short stories if you can. And I'll see you all next week. Right, later.